What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode. What are we talking about today, Millie?
Today we're going to be chatting about data centers. Obviously, it's a big thing in modern times. Yeah, it's kind of like the elephant in a room. A lot of things that, isn't being spoken about and isn't being covered by mainstream media. So, yeah, we think it's important to chat about some of the realities of these data centers and, just kind of talk about that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many implications that come along with building a data center and operating a data center.
Yeah.
I mean, not only environmentally, socially,
Yeah.
I mean, economically.
Yep. Yeah.
What else would
the
you...
list goes
Yeah.
on and on and on. And the thing is that, like, the promise of these billionaires and these companies that are heavily investing in these data centers, they're promising like that these are going to create jobs, but that's just not the reality. The construction contracts are short term. Once the center is fulfilled and built, it's all just computers running like constantly. That's not something that requires a multitude of people. So for building a operation that is multiple football fields big, for that to only create a handful of jobs, it's just not worth the investment or the expense. And then also, if we look at what the purpose of them building these data centers for, it is literally to replace everyday people's jobs. So why would we want that? Why would the masses support something like that?
I know. I mean, I just feel like people have also become so reliant on AI in their day-to-day lives, and I feel like that is kind of what gets lost on people, is like how much of an impact in your day-to-day life and the searches that you're running on your own, like how much of an impact and how much strain that also puts on the data centers, and why they need to keep creating more and bigger data centers because of how much everyday people are also using it, and not even to talk about the people that are being replaced by it.
Right, yeah. And I mean, that kind of comes into like the social responsibility element of this. It's like everyday people can 100% limit their usage of AI systems. You can limit your searches, you can limit generating images, you can limit doing those things, because the more we limit that, the more we stop reinforcing the belief that these data centers are needed. And I mean, I've seen a lot of statistics recently that have said that a lot of these data center projects are being blocked and stalled out in communities because of community protest. And we know the implications that these data centers are also causing. So a few of those, if you don't know, are they create what are called now heat islands. So the area around the data center is like warmed because of the heat that the data center itself is generating. So it is, I forget the exact temperature, but it makes the surrounding area around the data center hotter, like literally warmer because of the heat that's generated.
I feel like you said it was like 10 degrees warmer or something.
Something like that. So that's a big difference. That's a big difference.
Rise in temperature just from being around the data center. 100%. And I'm sure that reverberates out to a certain distance from the data center and obviously up and out.
Exactly. 100%. And then another thing is that residents living in those areas have complained about like a constant hum. And sometimes they can't even hear it, but they can feel like the disruption in their sleep and stuff. And so again, that's like a frequency of vibration that is being given off from these data centers that scientists haven't studied, we don't have the research on, and it is impacting other like people's sleep, which is massive.
You know what that's just made me think of too? That literally just sparked in my brain of what like massive fisher boats and what all the boats in the ocean are doing to ocean animals. And something that we haven't really studied very much or understood how it's affecting animals under the ocean.
That's
and now
such a good comparison.
They're doing it to humans.
Literally,
Wow.
So now those signals, the same, exactly
the same disruptions that we've been pushing onto ocean life for decades, centuries even.
And that's why a lot of the whale like species have stopped singing their songs in the ocean, because they aren't traveling as far because of our signals. And like you think about, like humans our brains, our sleep, like it's immensely important. Our brain obviously is like our main operating center. So as that is continuously disrupted for people in those areas, like that's going to impact them. That's going to impact their decision making, their rest.
Yeah,
That's going to lead to more sicknesses,
like
which
mental health issues,
etc., which ties me into the next concern with data centers is the pollution, right? They're not using renewable energy to power these data centers. So quite literally they are using like turbines, gas turbines, and just emitting tons of CO2 and tons of other greenhouse gases directly into our environment.
Yeah, I've heard the smell in communities around data centers is horrible.
Yeah, a
like
lot of communities.
Rancid.
Yeah, a lot of communities. That's been like a huge thing of why there's so much pushback against data centers is because of the smell of these burning fossil fuels and stuff. No. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say not to even mention the water they're using.
That was gonna be that's gonna be another point. So the next thing is the water usage, right? Every single day AI search that every person does is like pouring out a bottle of water. Like you basically are pouring out a bottle of water as soon as you press
drinking water.
Like enter on your search. But yeah, for example, there was a data center in Georgia that was stealing 30 million gallons of clean, fresh water, usable resident water. A data center was stealing 30 million gallons worth of that water and diverting it for their purposes. And the city in that area put the residents under a watch notice in that time period.
Yeah, and get this, they didn't even know that the data center was using their drinking water, their water that they were getting to their houses, until someone or residents started noticing the pressure in their water was just like going down and down and down. And then finally they were let in on this knowledge that the data center is stealing the water.
And the way they did it was like completely nefarious as well. I mean, they literally like dug underground and connected to pipes like unknowingly, and like were literally siphoning the city's water. And that's just one example. Another example is the amount of energy, right? So Canadian billionaire Kevin O'Leary has proposed a data center in Utah, which the residents are massively against. And the data center would use 9 gigawatts of energy. 9 gigawatts worth of energy, which is more than the entire state of Utah uses right now.
Yeah.
So they would build one data center that uses more energy than the entire state combined.
How are they gonna procure that energy?
It's just it's unbelievable.
And also, if you don't know who Kevin O'Leary is, he's one of the Shark Tank people. So
Mr. Wonderful, but yeah, I think it just it highlights, one, these data centers are predatory, right? Like they're doing it in a very predatory way, and the people investing in these data centers, these billionaires, these multi-billion, trillion-dollar companies, they do not have the best interests of the people in mind. They are looking for the cheapest land, the cheapest property, then they obliterate the natural wildlife that lives in those areas, and then they build these data centers that do not create jobs and are designed specifically to further take jobs away from Americans and other people.
Yeah.
And now, on top of that, these data centers are polluting massively in our environment, making it hotter, and consuming clean, fresh drinking water that residents would otherwise be utilizing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane.
And we're seeing water shortages across the country. There's already water warnings. There's already, water restriction warnings being put in place, telling people not to water their lawns, limit their showers. All of that stuff they're already putting in place because it's a dry, drought, time right now, and it's going to be going into the summertime. And yet, where are the restrictions on the data centers? Where is the requirement of data centers to create clean energy and utilize clean energy, or dispose of their waste properly, or utilize other systems such as rain capture for their water cooling? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, you cannot just continue to make lives worse for the residents.
There has to be a line.
Yeah,
there has to be a line.
There has to be a line.
And I just feel like they're there's no use in waiting to create regulations. We can already see all of the problems that this is creating now.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's such a problem with like waiting till things get really bad before making regulations to push the line back. But it's like we can already see the impacts.
Yeah. Well, we know our current administration is not going to regulate anything.
Well, yeah, I know that. I'm just saying generally, usually things aren't regulated until it gets
too
really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, that really is like the scary part with these whole data centers, with this push of AI, all these like generated images and videos. Like, there's a lot of danger to it. I think it's pretty interesting timing that, you know, the government starts releasing alien files and all of these other unverifiable things now, along with the, you know, mass usage of AI. It's almost like now people really won't know what's real, what's fake.
So true.
But so I think like a lot of these things are mainly distractions to pull away from the fact that they are making real decisions in real time, which are harming, you know, Americans across the country. And that just can't be understated enough. Like, these data centers are dangerous, and that's why residents in areas are pushing back so hard against these projects.
As they should.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen so many things come out about the various AI sources that people are using. And I mean, a couple of things that I've been seeing recently is just like talking about how people will literally use AI to like plan a crime or stalk someone or things like that, and their accounts will get flagged and nobody does anything about it, and then we find out later that they were using AI to like plan these things. And I feel like that is another thing where it's like, okay, so you're seeing the red flags of what people are doing with your AI and just not regulating or reporting or doing anything to make it safer.
It's really unfortunate.
It's just like
you know, just like me personally, I know I miss the internet before you had to question every single video and its authenticity. Like, it was nice back in the day just knowing like a real person created this, a real person is responsible for this art. And yeah, I just miss those much more simple times. I think like AI has kind of, you know, infected a lot of industries that it has no business in. And, you know, AI is slop at the end of the day. Like, nothing you generate on an AI platform is really original, right? The AI is pulling from sources from the internet or from whatever it's coded to do. So yeah, just something to think about. You know, we all have a personal responsibility. The more we cut down on AI usage as individuals, the more we can also kind of prove that there isn't a need for these data centers. And then, you know, the people in those local areas, you know, continue that fight, continue the good fight, continue pushing back against your regulators and your constituents. If your lawmakers are voting in support of you know, data centers being built in your community, you need to get them out of office by any means necessary, remove them, get new people who actually represent your interests in place. That is what we have to do. Like, the power is with the people. We have to push back against the data centers. Again, it's just going to escalate climate change, escalate drought, escalate fire. Like, you know, it's just, it's going to be very bad. And again, like, we know the billionaires have the ability to get on their jets, get on their super yachts, and they'll skate away. They won't be there when the climate disaster hits. But, you know, when your town runs out of water, out of clean drinking water because of a, you know, a data center nearby, that's a danger to you and your family. So you got to fight now and push back against those things now before it's too late.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, the time is now.
The time is now. So yeah, those are our thoughts on data centers and their emergence in the United States. You know, we the people have to continue to fight this fight against data centers. They're very dangerous. They consume a lot of drinking water. They create heat islands in the surrounding areas. They are, what were some of our other ones? They pollute massively into the environment, and they create a mysterious hum that is keeping residents in the area awake. They smell awful. They pollute into the atmosphere. Those are just a few of the many reasons why we have to fight back against data centers.
Absolutely.
So,
if you made it this far,
thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Peace.
Bye.